Hello dear students, myself Professor S.B. Bhendigeri, Department of Economics, taking online classes for PUC first year commerce students. Dear students, in the last class we have studied how to calculate frequency distribution with the help of exclusive method. Okay. Exclusive method in the sense, in this method the upper limit of the first class interval and the lower limit of the second class interval remains the same. Here upper class limit is excluded. Okay, this is called exclusive method. With the help of this method we have understood one calculation in the previous class. In today's class let us understand the inclusive method. How to calculate frequency distribution with the help of inclusive method. We are taking the same data information which I have shown in the previous video. With the help of this same data information, that is the information of students' marks in mathematics, let us understand how to calculate frequency distribution with the help of inclusive method. Before going to that calculation, you have to understand what is inclusive method first. In this method, the upper limit of the first class interval is different than the lower limit of the second class interval. Here, upper class limit is included. This point you have to understand very systematically. Without understanding this main important sentence, that is upper class limit is included in the inclusive method, you are not able to understand how to calculate frequency distribution with the help of inclusive method. Okay. Now look at the calculation. Here frequency distribution calculation with the help of inclusive method. In the first column we mentioned class limit or else class interval. In the second column we mentioned frequency distribution. In the third column this is lower limit, and fourth column it is upper limit, and last one is class mark. In the inclusive method of frequency distribution calculation, the upper limit of the first class interval is always included. It means the first class interval is 0 to 9. So whatever observations are coming between 0 to 9, all are included in this class limit, for example. That you have to understand. And the upper limit of the first class interval and the lower limit of the second class interval are different, and upper class limit of the first class interval is always included in the frequency distribution. So look at the data here. What data says? Between 0 to 9, how many observations are there? If you are going to understand, between 0 to 9 there is one observation, that is 0, for example. Okay, 0 is the one observation between 0 to 9, and between 10 to 19 there are 8 observations. While for example searching the observations, you have to take utmost care. Between 10 to 19, how many observations are there? You have to understand very systematically and put arrow mark on those observations to make very clear, to make understanding of next, for example, observations. Okay, 10 to 19 there are 8, for example, observations. Here it is. 10 to 19, how many are there? 8 observations. And 20 to 29 there are 6 observations again. Like this up to last class interval, that is 90 to 100. Between 90 to 100 there are 4 observations. I'll show that which are those observations. Here one is 100. Okay, one is 100, for example. Here 190 is there, and for example, 1 second, again 90 is there, and one more is here. 100, 90, 90 and 90. These 4 observations are there between 90 to 100 class interval. Like this, you may round up those numbers or else put arrow mark on those numbers once these are taken into account to make clear of next observations, for example. Okay, so like this, to understand frequency distribution calculation with the help of inclusive method, what you have to understand here, the upper limit of the first class interval is always included in the first class limit, for example. Okay, and the upper class limit of the first class interval is different than the lower class limit of the second class interval. This point you have to understand. Again, class mark is mentioned over here. Class mark of the first class interval is 4.5. You know why? 0 plus 9 is 9 only. 9 divided by 2 is 4.5, like that. 10 plus 19 is 29. 29 divided by 2 is 14.5. Okay, like this, all calculations are there in class mark. This is what you are understanding how to calculate the frequency distribution with the help of inclusive method. I hope all of you understood. If any doubts are there, you can put your doubts in the comment box. We will make it clear. Okay. Now coming to the next important point is frequency distribution calculation with the help of unequal classes. Again, this type of question may also comes in the examination for 4 marks or 6 marks. Here, there is no sequence in class, for example, intervals. You may take any limit, for example, over here. You may take any type of class intervals like 0 to 10, 10 to 25, 25 to 35, 35 to 40, 40 to 50, 50 to 60. Your own, for example, unequal classes you can take. Accordingly, you have to calculate frequency distribution with the help of that class interval. Here I have taken 0 to 10 class interval, again for the same data information of students' marks in mathematics for 100 students. Okay, I have taken the same example, same data information for calculation of frequency distribution with the help of unequal classes. Classes are not equal over here. Okay, there is no flow in the class interval. Okay, whatever may be the class interval, but frequencies must be tally with the number of observations. That care you have to take. Total number of frequencies always equal to the number of observations in that data. If the data information is of 100 students, frequency must be equal to that data. That care you have to take in the calculation. Okay, so here frequency is looking different compared to exclusive and inclusive method. You know why? This frequency is different only because of unequal classes you have taken over here. Because of unequal classes, frequency observations are a little bit different. Okay, here in the inclusive method, 0 to 9 only one observation was there. Okay, this is. And in unequal also it is 1. Look at this. And in the second class interval of inclusive method, the total number of frequencies observations were 8. But in the unequal class distribution of frequency distribution calculation, between 10 to 25 there are 10 observations. You know why? Here the class interval is different. Earlier class interval was 10 to 19. Here it is, for example, 10 to 25. Because of that there is a changes in the frequencies. So like that, frequencies observations are depending upon the classes we are taking. If it is inclusive or this, for example, exclusive method, frequencies are moreover, for example, equal. When we are calculating same frequency distribution with the help of unequal classes, frequencies are what happens, goes on, changes. Again, this is a lower limit, upper limit and the class mark. And one more thing you have to understand, my dear students, if it is there in the examination, there is no need to write lower limit and upper limit column. It is not necessary. For your understanding, I have shown those two columns over here. If it is there in the 4 marks question for calculation of frequency distribution with the help of unequal classes, if you are writing the class interval and frequency and class mark, this is enough for that particular question. No need to write lower limit and upper limit. Okay, this is all about the frequency distribution calculation with the help of unequal classes. Okay, I hope you understood, my dear students. With this, let us stop our today's discussion. Remaining part of this same topic we shall discuss in the next class. Thank you very much.